Hi there, my name's Virginia. Welcome to the Art of the Oracle. Today's reading is going to be a 3-card, pick a card reading, and it's, the energy is around what is being illuminated right now around the full moon. The full moon is coming in just a couple of days from when I'm doing this reading, depending on when you're seeing it, but if you're doing it at the time that I'm uploading it, we are already in the phase because the phase begins 3 days before and 3 days after. So there's like that week phase where we are receiving information and guidance, and we're being drawn and pulled in directions by the moon's tides. So I thought that I would have some fun and choose mainly moon cards around this and oracle cards. So the first one is the Black Moon Astrology card deck by Sheppard. This one's a very beautiful, somewhat intense. Okay, so there's your first card screaming out. This one is Yod, card number 48, and it's Destiny, some beautiful imagery. So for pile number 2, what would like to be, wow, this is really exciting for me. The second one is number 17, Leo, I Will. So what is the third card that would like to be brought out today for this 3-card, pick a card reading? And the third one is Chiron, number 8, and Healing. So those are the 3 pick a cards that we have coming out. Take your time and see what kind of is drawing you in, and then we'll work from there. Thank you. So I had to pause the video just briefly so I could grab my dog, who was on a little bit of a barking rant. So in these cards, it's funny because when things happen, I think that they happen for a reason. And I feel like what that was really alluding to is that perhaps that you have had distractions in your life that has kind of knocked you off what you feel like is your true path. Because the 2 cards that came out right before I went outside was hold your vision. And don't let your past hold you back. So are there things that in your past, I'll let you see both of these cards a little bit closer, that have, brought, just distraction and confusion perhaps, chaos. Is that going on right now? So if it is, I think what this card is saying is, it's really a time to hold on to what, I think we all want to know what our destiny is. So if you don't know it, and if you have a glimpse of it, either one, let's see if we can find a little bit more information. I'm going to read from the Lunar Oracle. This is by Liberty Pie, and wow, so just like all the other cards, a lot is jumping out. So the card that really came out, I don't know if you can see this, so I'm going to move this one down here, is that give your creativity the space it needs. The cards pretty much went everywhere, so I'm kind of excited by the energy that's around here and around the full moon. And this card is about the new moon, and there's a cycle between the full moon and the new moon, and perhaps during the next new moon that you'll see a little bit more about what it is that you have available to you, in terms of being more creative. Maybe something's going to open up for you. The next deck that we're going to add to see if we can find some more information is by Terri Foss, and it's the Earthly Souls and Spirit Moon Oracle. So please give us a little bit more information about what's coming forward for pile number 1 and the Destiny. That wanted to come open. Evolve, what a beautiful card. I'm going to see if there's a couple more cards before I move on from here. But what is it that is being illuminated at the full moon? Is there any additional cards from this deck? There we go. I usually like to feel them jump, and I think it's this one. Oh, how beautiful. So can you see those two cards that come out? One is Evolve, which, you know, has this wonderful butterfly winged person, and it's in orange, and the wings are orange. And so I feel like, you know, the fire of creativity is going to come forward, and that's what needs to come at the full moon. It started out with Yod and Destiny, which is, you know, this energy of orange coming out, and I believe that that's bringing about that fire and awareness of what wants to be born through you. And then of course we have yet another, this is the full moon and Earth, which is bringing in another orange color through the Fox. And you know, both of these have full moons, but a lot of the deck does have full moons in it. It's why I'm using it, is that it has beautiful moon phases in it. So when I think about Evolve, and I see the cards that have previously have preceded it, my thought is that perhaps your path is leading you to something a little bit more creative, something that gives you some energy. Do you know, when we do something that we really love, you know, they say do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I know that there's some truth to that, because we have almost a purpose in it, in this thing that we absolutely love. And the reason why it feels so good is because it is our destiny. It is something that we were meant to do, and it just feels right to us when we do it. So a lot of times we'll save it, you know, for times when we have, you know, space between everything else, life and the way it gets in. But I think at the full moon, something is going to spark in you. And it's going to kind of change the way that you feel about what you're doing and where you are in your life. And it may take a bit of a creative turn. So I think this card is asking you, you know, she's not looking at us. So, or he, it could be a he. And so there's a bit of mystery around it. There's a black cat as well. And so perhaps what this is saying is that this is a moment for you and you alone, like the Destiny card suggested. For you and you alone to figure out what that is. But something is going to come in, I feel like, at the full moon and let you know that it's time. It's time, or something is just going to start making sense to you. Let's see what the Earth card has to say here. I'm going to go to the book. You know, when I first think of the Earth, I don't think I've ever received this card before, but when I first think of the Earth and what the card is really representing here, is the fox has a really, you know, a lot of different meanings. A sly fox, you know, like somebody's gonna pull one over on you. But I think it's more in the sense of really smarts. And this fox is not running or getting into trouble. This fox is sitting and knowing who he really is and where he is at this time. So I think the energy that's coming in from this card is about that, is about being grounded in this new energy that's coming in, to take it into your being, to allow this to come about. It may not be the easy path, which is what Yod was, or the Destiny card was alluding to, is that it may not be the one that everybody else sees you doing, but it could be the one that really, really is what you want to do. And if that's the case, I think that this reading is asking you to kind of tune in to you, your space. Just take a moment and let yourself, your intuition, your inner self talk, have a voice, and see what's coming from it. So when I go to the book, there's a quote by Albert Einstein on here, and he was pretty brilliant. So let's see what that has to say. It says, look deep into nature and you will understand everything better. There is a real creativity to nature. And it looks chaotic, which is what this card first said, that everything may look like chaos. So when you walk in, you're unfamiliar, it may look like chaos, but there's a lot going on. And to people or, foxes and things that live in the forest, it makes perfect sense. So sometimes if you're talking about something that might mean something to you and you're voicing it to someone else and they think it's kind of crazy, it may not ever make sense to anyone but you. But you are the most important part in this whole thing. It says in the book, I'm just going to grab a couple of little quotes. You are star-filled. You are the star-filled night sky. You're the golden rays of the fiery sun. You are the infinite universe with electric magnetic sparks. You are the trickling streams, flowing rivers, and vast oceans. You are everything, and everything is in you. Attract what you need and desire by respecting Earth Home. But I think I think in the reading, in the context of this reading, it's really opening up a window, a door, a whole building, a whole space, to invite in the possibility that there is more to where you're at. And I think that you probably feel that. So the next, I'm going to see if I can move this. I'm going to pause it real quick and see if I can move the camera up a little bit. There we go. It's giving me just a little bit more playing field here to work with. So I always bring in a tarot deck along with all these oracle cards. And this one is the Deviant Moon Tarot by Patrick Valenza. It's kind of a fun, playful deck, although some of the images, are a little bit interesting and unexpected. So I've had to put little flowers over any of them that seem a little bit more explicit. I'm going to ask for additional information about what's being illuminated and what is it that's trying to come out. Wow, as soon as I said that, several cards jumped out. And the first one is the Chariot that really, really wanted to come out. When the Chariot comes out, this is a really fun chariot, right? This guy is all cloaked in armor. He's got a giant wheel in the back, a little wheel in the front. He's wide open, very protected. So I feel like something is, protecting you as you move forward, but that whatever it is that you're thinking about is going to move forward. The second card that came out, interestingly enough, is the Strength card. And I think that's exactly what you need right now, is the strength to know that you can move forward. That there's really something that is trying to be liberated from you. It's your true destiny. Two more cards came out. It's interesting because this one is the Four of Swords, and the Four of Swords comes out when you need a time of rest. And I think that either this card is alluding to the fact that you right now are resting or, going in, because the swords are a card about our thoughts and our conversations. And this may be a time for you to really go in, kind of like a meditative state, kind of like what some of these cards were alluding to, about going in within yourself and seeing what wants to be born and how you can make this happen, what it is that you need to do to bring it in. Then you have 2, 3 cards here. Let's take a look at both of these. And the first 3 card is about heartbreak. And it's a lot of times, when this card comes out, it feels like you lost something. And I think it's really interesting because this card, is all in the heart, but she has a third leg that she's standing on back here. And it feels like even though this is a little bit of a loss, that she's probably more stable than she's ever been, because this, to me, it feels like it's a loss that needed to happen. And every closed door creates a new opening for something. When something leaves your life, it leaves a space for something new to come in. So I think that that's what you have here. And then you have another card, which is all about celebration. So perhaps what you're going to move into is that you're going to have support and you're going to be working with others. And the Cups is all about the energy of the heart and doing the things that you love. So I feel like this is going to be working with people. This, it's funny because I don't know why this just came into my head, but my great grandmother, whenever she dreamed of fish, there was going to be a new birth, a new baby. And so I think it's relevant for you. I think, you know, when you agree it's time to let the other thing go, it's going to open up the space for this new idea, this new you that really wants to come out. And when you do, it's going to be a great time of celebration. Very, very exciting. I hope you enjoyed this reading. It is, we're right in the time of the full moon. So if it is something that you're aware of, I think it's telling you that is a good opportunity that this thing that you desire is going to move forward. May not be easy and you're going to have to let some things go. But I think in the end, it's going to bring you some really fun times, and you're going to be able to work with others in a way that is going to bring about, I think, a beautiful new change, a beautiful new opportunity in your life. So thank you for joining me today for this pile number 1 reading. If you like my videos, please hit like and subscribe. I put the 3-card pick a card reading out a couple of times a week, and then I'm also doing a daily reading now. So it's a short reading, usually around 10 minutes or so, and just kind of check in with the pulse of what I feel like is going on through the cards. I'll do a new oracle deck every week and get some new perspective on things. So thank you so much for being here. And for whatever reason, as I'm wrapping it all up, I'm hearing just say, pull one more card. Like, there you go. And there's the card that really wants to be brought out. And this is the 6 of Cups. Wow, how fun is that? And so the 6 of Cups is denoting this time. So he's getting, you know, noticed. A lot of times it's a card about nostalgia, you know. So I feel like it came out because perhaps this is something that you've wanted to do since childhood. And it's you know, you find it almost playful. It's a time that really brings you a lot of joy and energy. Or maybe somebody from your past is going to pop in and suggest that you guys do that thing that you always thought about doing. So again, thank you. Thank you for letting me choose one more card. It was nagging at me until I did it. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Have a beautiful week, and please let me know if something does come in and you find yourself heading in that direction. Thank you again. Bye. Welcome back, pile number 2. I am very excited by this card. As you can see, it's a pretty energetic card. It's surrounded by gold, the beautiful lion. There is a symbol of, I'm not sure which one it is, one of the pharaohs there from Egypt. There's just a lot going on, and the big sun. And the card of Leo, I have a Leo in my life, and when you have Leos in your life, you know that they are wow, they are fire, they are full of energy, and they like the attention. They like being in the center of attention. They're usually somewhat playful. They can have a hot temper, but everything about them is you know, getting noticed. They like being in the middle of things and at the center of attention. So I think that that's what this card is pointing to for the full moon. We'll draw some more oracle cards around it. But yeah, I think that this full moon, you're going to be in the spotlight. So let's see if we can get some more information. This is the Black Moon Astrology deck. is the first card there. And the second card is the Lunar Oracle by Liberty Pie. And let's see if we have some more information. What is coming to be during this full moon? Wow, you got 3 cards here that wanted to come out. So every day is a new beginning. It's very true, simple but true. And the next card is consider the advice of a friend, but make your own decision. The third card is keep your heart open to unexpected possibilities. There you go. So every day is a new day. I think you're going to have some new possibilities. Maybe it's going to give you an opportunity to do something pretty exciting. Let's take a look at some more oracle cards. We're going to use the Moon Oracle by Terri Foss. What is this pointing to? What are the new things coming out? Why is pile number 2 going to be in the spotlight during the full moon? Let's see. Okay, this card. Oh, look at that. Abundance. Maybe you are going to be in the spotlight. You're going to have an abundance of attention. Maybe you're going to have a beautiful windfall. Okay, so a couple of other cards came out. I'm going to use these 2 right here. And because they kind of like flew out, several cards flew out, but we're going to go with these 2 cards. And it's interesting because these 2 are mimicking this energy, this fire energy of abundance and this orange and gold, and it feels very rich and exciting. And then this kind of takes it into almost an etherical. And what's really interesting is that the crystals that I brought out was the purple amethyst and this yellow citrine for abundance. So I feel like it's mimicking that. So this whole energy, because it's all encompassing, is that I feel like during the full moon, you are going to be at an all-time high. You're going to have this excitement, this energy. Some things that are somewhat unexpected, I feel like, are going to come out, bringing in this wish card and compassion. She's sitting here with the crows, which the crows to me denote kind of a magical, mystical, unknown side. You know, some people think the crows are, you know, a sign of something like of a bad omen. I do believe they're a sign of an omen, but I don't think they're a bad omen. I think it's a sign of magic, of something new coming in, something in that maybe that you didn't expect it. And that's funny because right here, this card is keep your heart open to unexpected possibilities. And then you have the compassion card here with this little cat here. So perhaps that's, you know, you're going to see somebody that is going to need a little bit of something from you. Or, you know, something's going to happen. You're going to see something in a new way. And, you might need a little bit of compassion in all the success. So the first card about abundance, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. She is really holding a golden cornucopia that's bringing in just all kinds of delights and anything she can imagine. And I think it's pointing to something that is really going to bring you into a space where you're going to get noticed. You're going to get noticed either for something that you're creating or something that is coming into you, some sort of fame, something that maybe even that you could only wish of having. Every day is a new day, but, you know, when we dream and we have these wishes, and sometimes we just, you know, throw them out there and then we move on with our day and we forget about them. Oh, wow, right. I did really want that. And maybe that's what this card's alluding to. I'm going to pull a little bit of information from the book. And this is by Terri Foss. I don't know if I showed that to you. It says, invite light and hope into your life. Be curious, dream, and move forward. Magic is inside of you. And the card is asking you to dare to dream, to kind of, you know, so I know that as, you know, Leos, and what this energy is coming in is about being out there in the open and being, you know, available and being seen. And I think that this card is kind of bringing a little bit of the magical side, that little softer side, where a little creative side that's saying, you know, you don't have to put it all out there. You don't have to show all your cards at one time. You don't have to be seen 100% all the time. I think it's asking you to kind of, even though you're going to be out there in a really big way, I think something's going to come in that's just going to kind of make you take a little bit of a step back, because you also have the card of compassion. And when the compassion card comes in, you know, we all know what compassion means. It's, you know, it's when you can look at someone with an open heart and you can be there for them. So in all of this abundance, maybe it's going to allow you to be there for someone where you know, previously could not. So there's a quote in the book, and it says, in compassion, when we feel with others, we dethrone ourselves from the center of our world and we put another person there. I think that is probably the reason why it's coming in right now for you, is that, yeah, you're right here in the center of attention. All this stuff is going on, but I think there's somebody else there with you that has been kind of in the background, who has a secret wish, or maybe you have a wish. But I think for a moment, you know, they're on these orange pumpkins too. Maybe somebody that has been kind of side by side with you, and it's time to let them have a little bit of the limelight and let them share in some of the excitement that's going on. All right. So, wow, how beautiful is this? So the card that came out is at the full moon, there is a win-win outcome in the forecast. Right? The first card was talking about abundance. So if you are, you know, feeling lucky, I'd say buy a lottery ticket, because something really wonderful is coming out. And I think the reason why it says win-win is that it's a win-win. You're going to be at the forefront, and so is the other person. When you allow both of you to equally shine, it's like times two. You can have this beautiful sweetness, and when you share it, it's even better than you can imagine. So the next deck that I'm going to bring out is Deviant Moon from the Tarot deck here by Patrick Valenza. Really fun, crazy moon oracle. So can we get a little information, a little sneak peek? What's going on? We see a lot of energy, a lot of abundance, and the ability to share. Can you give us a little bit more information about what is being illuminated or shown at the full moon? What additional information would like to come out for pile number 2? Okay, lots of crazy stuff. So the first thing that came out is the Queen of Wands. We have quite a few cards coming out, and these two were face down and these were all face up. So in the Queen of Wands, it's all about energy, right? The Queen of Wands is got the fire energy going on. And in this card, you know, she's got many hands. So she has enough energy to work for 2 people. She's got a lot going on, and she knows it. She knows that she has all she needs. That's why she has so many hands. She really, truly has everything that she needs at her fingertips. And the next card that's coming in is the 9 of Pentacles. And interestingly, she has all the arms and he has none, because he doesn't really, I mean, he's already been through a time of work. Now he's just kind of looking at all the things he's done. So he, you know, doesn't have to do anything right now, just absorb this amazing space that he's in right now. And in the next 2 cards are, interestingly enough, the Hangman and Justice. And I think that these 2 come about, and it feels like a little bit of a cycle, right? So you've got everything that you need. You've been there, you've been everything that you needed to be. You have created the spaces, the opportunities. You've created whatever it is in your life that you've been moving towards creating. And now you can look at that creation and see the abundance of everything that you've done. And so when I was reading these cards, and it was kind of giving me this idea of coming in and a wish and of sharing it, is that when the Justice card comes out, it's like a balanced, these are the two cards I'm going to show you right now. It's a balanced perspective, or in a balanced state after it's almost like a reflection point, like what the Hangman is showing you after all of the stuff that you've done. It's almost as if you have a moment to look at what you've done, to see the balance, to see all the hard work pay off. So everything that you have put in is now going to be balanced. You know, he has keys, and this particular card, he has a whole bunch of keys. He has everything that he needs right now to move into a new place, to open doors, to you know, maybe the keys are ideas, maybe the keys are just opening up opportunity, because you've put so much into it. So it may not be physical abundance that you're getting. It may be this opportunity that you're getting. And if it is, this is in the Hanged Man, he has a watch here hanging off, you know, his boot here. And I think this card is saying, you know, take the time. Take the time that you need to make sure that you're making the decision. Maybe you're going to talk with someone else. Maybe it's going to be working with somebody else. Because again, you brought this, he's got this purple energy. So the purple represents a kind of a higher understanding of things. And then the red in here is about bringing things down into being, into the, you know, your root chakra, and having all the things that you need. And he's at that space. The reason why he's hanging upside down is not because somebody captured him. It's because he knew that it was time for him to take a time out. It's the 7 in the tarot deck, in the major arcana, and he knows that he's reached a point where he can take a pause and see what it is that where he's at, where he'd like to go to, maybe absorb some of the abundance, absorb the ideas, and then have an opportunity to move forward into something new. So the two cards that were covered up, wow, really interesting. So this one came out in the first reading. But the card here was the Tower moment. And as you can see in the Tower, a lot of people don't like to see the Tower, but the Tower is inevitable. I mean, we all have Tower moments. I feel like I went through a whole Tower year last year. But, you know, it's shaking up and making these people come out of their shell, out of their hiding place, out of the spot that they thought was, you know, going to protect them, out of the spot that they think was the end, right? We are at our pinnacle. And this is to say, no, there's a lot more out there for you. And it's interesting, this one kind of came out in reverse, and in the first reading it did not. It came out upright. And when you see the 4 of Swords, it's like she's resting. She's put all of her thoughts, her ideas, her fears down for a minute. And she's got one single sword. She's okay. She's resting. A little bit of mimicking the Hanged Man. But because it was in reverse, I almost feel like that's ending now. So this is a time of contemplation about what's going in. And now it's time to make a move. Now it's time for you to figure out what is the direction that you want to go. You've had all this abundance. You've got everything. You've done the hard work. You're reaping the benefits of it. You see the balance of justice because you put in everything, and you see where you're going and how you have the ability to reap the benefits of the life that you have lived. And it's time to, you know, to take a look at where you are, where you've been. What do you want to do? And it's almost like this, you know, when you see the Tower, it's a bit of a forced change, right? Maybe this really great opportunity just came into your life and it's forcing you to make a decision and move on and to go through change. And it's something that you've always wanted, you know. A lot of times when we finally get the jackpot, you know, it's like, I got the jackpot, now what, right? Now it just has blown out of the water everything that you thought your life was going to be. I think I'm going to pull one more card here and just see if there is a final outcome. All this is a lot going on for the new moon. Is there anything else that would wow. That one really came out. So this is another 7 card. This is interesting because it's a Seven of Swords, and it's what happens when, you know, we think, like, he thinks he knows what's going on, right? He's got all these swords, but he's made many attempts at doing this thing. And he thinks he's pretty sure of himself, like what he's done and where he is, but he's kind of on his back. He's just, it's a lot of times it's a card that when there's been a little bit of a struggle, or, you know, it's like somebody is running away with all the swords because there's been a little bit of a fight or a disagreement in 6, and then 7 moves forward and he has, you know, stepped out. But I think this sword is saying to just be careful at what you say, that your words really are powerful. And they can move you in the direction that you want or the direction that you don't want. So be aware of the importance of your words, how you say them, and how other people are talking to you, because I think they have some sort of relevance for you in the situation that you are coming up to at this time. So say what you mean what you say, and yeah, and, you know, balance, you know, don't lose your balance here. Stay in alignment, and even though it feels like you've been knocked off your, I hear pedestal. I don't know, because none of this feels negative. It all feels really abundant and incredible. But I think that now that all this is happening, it's, you know, there's going to be a short pause. You need to take the time to figure out where you're going to go with all this kind of change that has happened and everything that's coming into your life. So drop me a comment if this means anything to you, or if it resonates with you in the new moon. Otherwise, I hope you will like and subscribe to keep me bringing more videos. If there's something that you have a desire to see, drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you and possibly bring in a reading that has some relevance for you and anyone around you. So thank you again for being here, pile number 2, and I hope you have a very abundant week ahead with the full moon. Bye now. Hello, pile number 3. You have Chiron, which I've heard people say is the wounded healer, and it's interesting because you look like you have Jesus here, and a beautiful, I don't know if it's Mother Mary, but kind of compassion. And you also have a key down here at the bottom, and it's card number 8. So I went to the book because I know a little bit about astrology, but not a lot about Chiron, except that I know that when it comes out, it's kind of a transformational card, like something is happening, something is changing. What I love is that when the author, who is Susan Sheppard, put together this book, she put a quote by Rumi here: "The wound is the place where the light enters you." And wow, that just makes so much sense, because we learn more from the pains and the wounds that we have from when things are going smooth and steady. When things are going smooth and steady, we're just kind of riding the top of the wave. But as soon as you kind of crash down, you have to make a decision, you have to move in another space, something happens and things start changing, and something has to change about what's going on with you. But you've learned something from being on top and then being in the water, if you're a surfer, and you have been, you know, tossed around a little bit. The relationship between Chiron is between Virgo and Sagittarius. In the book it says that Virgo is about health and physical well-being, and Sagittarius is about being aware consciously and spiritually. So having, it feels like is almost like embodiment of a higher understanding and on a physical plane. So because Chiron is what they call the wounded healer, he is, you know, the Lord of health, but he relates to, you know, your journey. So it says when this card turns up that it's a card of great transformation, and that we're able to heal ourselves, and we can take gifts or wounds. So it all depends on how you look at the thing that you just went through, because, you know, we all have scars from something. Some we see and some we don't necessarily see. And, you know, they could be a sensitive area, or they could just be a reminder of where you are. or maybe a little bit of both. But it says that Chiron is an expert in alchemy, which creates a great transformation from the mundane into the marvelous. So it's funny because, you know, the analogy I was using of being on top of the wave, and when you're surfing and you're riding the top, you know, that's what you're there for, right? But when it's over, and if you tumble down, or if you take some water in it, you know, you kind of lose sight of where or why you were there. So the next deck of cards I'm going to use is the Lunar Oracle, and this one is by Liberty Pie. It's really a really big card book and huge cards on top of it. So let's see what they're bringing in to illuminate our reading, give us information around the full moon, and is there something that is coming out or healing? Wow. Okay, so the card that came out is look to the natural world for inspiration. You know, when it talks about spirituality and embodiment as well, and the fact that something really marvelous can come out. If you have a time in your life that feels, you know, that you're still kind of in a wounded state, I think this card is telling you that, you know, take your shoes off and walk outside, because, you know, the nature doesn't make sense all the time to us. But when you stand in it and when you receive the beauty of what it has just by being its natural self, it's almost as if a calming happens within our body. We don't necessarily know why, but I think it is because it has a natural sense of inspiration and calmness, and energetically we want to be at a state of coherence, and nature helps us do that. So I'm going to pull from the Moon Oracle by Terri Foss, and what additional information can you help with the understanding that's going on right here in pile number 3? Okay. So the cards that we have is Divinity, a really lovely card, and I love that she is getting ready to go into the forest, or she may even be in the forest. She's cloaked in red here, which is to me reminded me of the root chakra. So she's kind of grounded in the space and where she is. Positivity also came forward. So the wolf is howling at the moon. You have a little owl up here at the full moon, and I feel like they're kind of working together. They've created a space where they're, you know, getting ready to create something really interesting here. We'll see what that means. And then the last card is Fairy Tale. Okay, so that's an interesting group of cards right there. Divinity, which I believe is what they're alluding to by nature itself. We can all stand in our true nature and tap into our own divinity. There's a quietness, a silence in nature, and a noisiness, but a silent divinity, I think, in all things, that there are these beautiful lights that are naturally, inner light, I mean, in the trees and what's going on in the forest, and everything just seems to be working together. So I'm going to go to the deck and see if they have some more clarity on what this Divinity card is bringing into this reading. The book has some beautiful little quotes here. And this one says, never forget that you have the spark of the divine within you, and whatever you do or don't do won't change this fact. I love that. And I think that's where I was kind of going with this one. And if you look here, there's lots of beautiful lights and sparks. This one is right in the spark of his eye, and she's very sympathetically leaning towards him. And it's almost as if she knows his true nature, but he's kind of wounded and he's been through a lot and he just doesn't see it himself. And so I think that is, you know, kind of wanting you to be aware, to kind of take a little bit of maybe an easier time on yourself. And know that there's a purpose to here and what you're doing and why you're here, and kind of embrace that. And maybe you're kind of feeling a little bit removed from everybody and everything, and you're just kind of going, what is going on? It feels just, everything feels a little bit raw at the moment. But I think that there's a path. I think there's something that's going to come now at the full moon that is going to bring about some form of healing for you. And it may be, you know, just you need to become more positive. Let's go to the positivity card here in the book and see if it brings out some more understanding. Yeah, and it just asks you to be grateful. I don't know if you've just come through a time where, you know, you aren't feeling grateful, or that you just became, you know, a little bit healthier, and now you have. Let's see what the card says. It's most important that you surround yourself with positivity always and have it in your mind at all times. Well, I think that it's hard to do that. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. And there's a lot of things that you can point your direction, your vision at. And if you didn't see my morning message this morning, take a peek at it, because it was all about where you're putting your focus, about embracing your inner light and your superpower, and knowing that you can be or create anything you want, and that really something wants to be born in you just as much as you want to bring it out. It wants to come out and it wants to shine. And I think this positivity card is, you know, it's asking you to kind of be aware at where are you putting your energy at? When you wake up in the morning, where is your energy going? Is it going on your phone and you want to see the doom and gloom that's going on in the world today? So algorithms are a part of our phone, and we know that. So the more we look at whatever it is that we're looking at, it's going to show us more of the same. So if you're putting your attention on things that are all about all the crap, everything that you actually don't even like to see, but it kind of ignites this thing inside of you that upsets you, you're going to get more of the same, because the natural algorithms that are designed in your phone are going to bring more to you. That doesn't mean that that's all there is out there. It's just all that's coming up because that's what you've been drawn to. So I think that, pause, go out in nature, see that, all that stuff out there on the internet, you're just seeing a small little slice of it. You got a little teeny slice of what's going on, and there's a lot more. There's an equal amount of positivity as there is of negativity out there. We just need to see it. The world is in harmony. It is in balance. It's just the algorithms are pushing you towards belief systems that may or may not be serving you. So let's see I'm just going to go back to the fairy tale that's going on right here, which I think is really exciting. So, what is a fairy tale? A fairy tale is, generally when you think about it, something that's not true, right? It's something that somebody made up. It's a tale. It's a tale of something that is somewhat magical. And I think this card it's almost telling you that, you know what I mean? Get out of this loop that you're going in, and believe in the unbelievable for a minute. Believe in the thing that if you could drop all the things that you feel like is going on in the world and all the bad stuff, and for a moment go back into this childlike state, something that you did when you were a kid, take your shoes off, stand on the ground, feel the earth, forget about all the adult stuff going on for a minute, and just allow the divinity of the earth, of the one truth about everything. Because no matter what's going on in the world, it's changing. It's all going to change. If it's bad now, it's going to be good. It's like the cycles of the tarot, right? Everything, it can't always be bad. It'll end up changing. Can't always be good. It'll end up changing. But everything's in constant motion. Sorry about that. I took a little pause. My storage is low. It's like take a pause and maybe focus your attention in a different direction, right? So in the fairy tale card, What it says is sparkle, dream, and fly. Dreams do come true. I have something somebody gave me so long ago. I can't even remember her name anymore. It was somebody that I worked with probably 30 years ago. And maybe not 30 years ago. But it was a little magic wand, and it says, dreams do come true. And I still have it because I truly believe that. Everything, if you can't see it, if you can't dream it into being, how can you create it? It's almost like it's a magic wand in your head to just open things up. And what the card is leaning to is what it says. It says, let the goodness and the lighthearted energy fill your heart with awe-inspired vision. Live in the moment for a spell as you soak in the glory. And that's what I think that this inspiration is talking about. Like, go out in nature and allow that divinity to come inside of you and let the goodness come in. Dream the impossible and draw joy into your life. I think this is all pointing at very similar things. Like, it's time for you to let go of negativity and bring yourself back into something that feels better for you. And I think right now at the full moon, I think something's going to happen oh, look at this. How perfect is that? So the card that came out is perhaps, it says a win-win outcome is in the forecast for you at the full moon right now. So please let me know in the comments if that ends up happening for you. Give us some more information, because I think what it's saying is that, maybe you've lost hope in something. Don't. Believe in fairy tales. Believe that magic happens. Believe that what do you have to lose if just for a minute that you feel better? And I think these two cards want to come out. And it's interesting because this is the Justice card and this is the Death card. So when major arcanas come out, I believe that means that it's a really profound moment. Smaller cards, the minor arcana comes out when there are small transitions going through. I think that whatever is happening right now is like it's coming to be something. You're going to have to let something go. This guy is kind of squashing the little guy. It's because maybe this is the little guy in his head that's been telling him, bad stuff. It's been telling him negativity, and he's now putting an end to that, letting that go over. And this is the balance coming in terms of justice. Like, what you put in, you get out. Can we get additional information about what's ending and what's coming in to be? So the first card that came out is the Page of Pentacles. And just like you think, the page is here. He's got a giant wrench in his hand. He's got his pentacle in his hand. And he's almost admiring the work that he's done. So I feel like something is ending for you. There's a balance coming in where things are going to be balanced out in the scales of justice. And it's time to kind of squash the little naysayer that's within you, because you have the Page of Pentacles that you're going to be able to, there's a lot that can happen in the new moon in a week, and I hope it does for you. Take a look at where you've been, what you've been doing. Then you have the Empress card, and the Empress card pretty much embodies like Earth. She's the Earth mother, the abundance. This is like another abundance card coming in, showing that, she's sitting there just admiring of the flowers and everything that has to be. And then you have the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands here, she's, admiring creation. It's a time when, the flowers haven't quite bloomed yet, but you're right there. Things are happening and moving in a different direction. And then the final card that you have here is the Moon, and they are dancing with the Moon. Now, the Moon is a very mysterious card. And it's interesting that it's going right here under the Fairy Tale card. So this card is under positivity. So you can, he's looking at the wolf. He's looking at she's looking at these cards, and at the flowers, and she's been feeding them. It's like her belly button is attached to these cards. This is a really great deck. This is the Deviant Moon by Patrick Valenza. Fun deck. Very appropriate at the time of the full moon. And, she's feeding this. So this is kind of a temporary thing, but you have been putting something into something, and you're just not feeling very good about it. So I think it's under positivity because you really need to be positive. You've put a lot into it. It hasn't moved yet, but it's in between the Empress and the Moon. And the Empress is all about abundance and seeing the abundance. And she's staring back at the Page of Pentacles, very well aware of what he's put in. And she's not quite experienced this yet. But when the full moon comes in, It's almost as if something that you haven't seen or haven't expected is going to come into play here. So there is a win-win outcome. So let's see if there's any additional information. Oop, there we go. Oh, this came out in the last reading as well. And so it's interesting because this one I feel like is, you know, some of them say it is or it isn't about nostalgia, but this one is the Six of Cups. And in this particular card, all these kids are enjoying a puppet show, which is something that you rarely see anymore. And it was something that you would have done as a kid. And it's right here with this, you know, the divinity card, going into nature, allowing your true light to shine. I think that that's what this is all, you know, kind of like, you have a moment. You have an opportunity to either see something from the past, to heal something from the past, to allow something not to be, you know, the dark side, but more of a positive side. For you to see that, you know, whatever happened that left you wounded or that gave you an experience that felt like that it was like tumultuous, or that it was, you know, an uncertain time or a time of, you know, I just feel like where you're putting your attention is so important right now, that you have a lot of wonderful things to be happy for. Kind of put an end to that old naysayer person within you and see, you know, kind of embrace all that hard work, because in the Empress card, you know, she's all about creation and creativity and receiving the gifts, all the worldly gifts. I'm going to grab the little book and see if the Empress has just some additional information there. I love the Empress card. When she comes out, I feel like something is being born, something's coming in. So the Empress is here to emanate fertility, and she can, this is a very limited deck, so it just says a strong female figure. So, you know, perhaps that. So that is the end of your reading for today. I hope you